I just got done playing the New World beta and they made a very interesting change that I think is pretty game breaking and something I think they'll probably end up reverting or have a lesser version of in the future. And that is this aim lock on assist, or basically it's aimbot just toned down by a tiny bit. And what this basically allows you to do is everything that was skill shot orientated in the game is now basically done for you by clicking your middle mouse button. Now this isn't always true for the attacks with the musket, the bow, and like the blunderbuss and stuff like that. They can still miss, but from what I learned is it's very hard the closer you are. The only time aim lock will generally miss is at longer range when your opponent is strafing in one direction. The opponent tries to strafe backwards like juke you, the aim lock will always connect. The only way I would miss shots on my musket is when the person would strafe in a straight line, then my musket could not track it for some reason. But that does not seem to matter for bigger abilities like Fireball or Pillar of Fire, anything like that, because the radius is so massive that it can still track you through strafing. So what this ends up doing is it feels like the game turns more into a stat check. Like he has more health and does more overall damage, so he just wins the fight. I know there are ways to counteract this, of course, but that's just how it feels a lot more of right now, since hitting your light attacks, your heavies, or hitting your skills is basically gone now with the changes. The skill expression in New World was not only how you rotate your abilities, but how you can connect them and hit them more than your opponent. But when you take away basically half the equation, and now everything is going to be hitting 80 to 90% of the time, guaranteed. And I'm sure when people get better at using this system, it would be closer to 100. And when people figure out how to go in and out of aim locking properly, like when they have to switch their positioning, they un-aim lock really quickly, then re-aim lock back onto their target, I'm sure there will be some skill gap in that regard. But there's not enough skills in the game to where you can properly showcase your level of competence in the game with only 6 skills if everything is going to be hitting 90% of the time or above, as you can see in these examples. In our first example here, you can clearly see my camera is facing not even in the direction of my opponent here, and my flèche is still able to connect. What this means for all melee combat is no matter where you're looking or whatever you're doing, your attacks will always connect onto your opponents no matter what. As long as they're not dodging or parrying or in like an iframe of some sort. As you can see here in this clip, I end up making a huge mistake, and that's just not aim locking. I tried to free aim it, where if I just had the aim lock on, I already would have killed him. None of those light attacks would have missed in the first place because it has god level tracking. This is very interesting because there are some melee attacks that are extremely broken if they have a 100% hit rate. Like flèche double hitting all the time that's an extremely high damaging ability that I have had a lot of struggle with hitting both parts of, because I play on low sensitivity and it's hard for me to whip my mouse around and get the second part of the backstab onto the opponent. But with this aim lock, this is no longer a problem. Another weapon that can greatly benefit from this is the sword and shield. The sword and shield has the leaping strike, and the leaping strike connects from the sword and shield. You're able to get your whole combo off. You have the shield rush into the shield bash, and then swapping weapons into like a heavy attack from a hammer or something. And that's all reliant on the leaping strike hitting. And now with the aim lock, it's pretty much guaranteed to hit. I briefly just wanted to show some melee combat, and since I was running musket the whole beta, I don't have any, so I'm going to be borrowing a clip from J-Oddity here from Twitch. As you can see here, the game is basically doing everything for him. The only thing J-Oddity is doing is just inputting his abilities. The game is aiming for him, tracking for him, and then watch his leaping strike. This is one of the craziest leaping strikes I've ever seen. He curved it around the wall. He basically curved the bullet and hit that. If that was framed, that would have been nutty, but since it's aim locked, it's not really that impressive, right? Because everyone in that situation could have done that. And I think that takes away the flair from New World's combat. When you do something sick, like hitting a nasty leaping strike like that, it's like, oh, well, anyone could have done that because the game is doing it for you. The game is basically playing for you. And this would go for anyone, myself included, because now the skill expression is just basically when you use your abilities. I think it would be fun to see if everyone slapped on the blindfold and had a 3v3 arena like that. You know, you hit the middle mouse button, you go into a 3v3, everyone's got their blindfolds on. I think that would be pretty funny to watch and to play. You have to basically go off sound cues, but you don't need your eyes anymore because the game basically plays for you. Aha! Aimbot, bitch.